So good morning.
Morning.
Okay. The title of my talk today is The Instructions on Being Big for God. So this is the second in our series, and this goes along with our New Thought January Back to Basics theme. So as I said last week, it's always a joy when a song inspires a Sunday sermon, and it's even a greater joy when it inspires the entire month of sermons, which this song has done. And this is what's happened with the song we sang this morning by songwriter and singer Cerise Patrone. She's a New Thought singer and songwriter. And the song entitled Big for God, and by being big, the song is entitled that, and by being big for God, I mean speaking out for love, shining our lights brightly, living loud without regrets, breaking free of fear and doubt, and saying yes to our good. Living in harmony, being a catalyst for change. And those are just a few ideas of how to be big for God. And this month we're exploring how the roots of our Science of Mind teachings invite us, instruct us, which is today, inspire us, and infuse us with enthusiasm to do those things in a big way. And again, they invite us into it with alluring, with a calling, and with an inner nudge. They instruct us on precisely how to move into that bigger space and place. They inspire us, motivate us, and they want us to go there. And finally, they infuse us with enthusiasm for living in this larger, more profound, more on purpose, bigger way, which will then give us the fortitude to keep moving forth even when life doesn't go as we planned. And even when we get disappointed or scared or frustrated, or you can fill in the blank. And each week we're taking one of these ideas, the invitation, the instruction, the inspiration, and the infusion with enthusiasm, and exploring how our teachings do those things. Last week we looked at the invitation and used the words from religious science founder Ernest Holmes from the Basic Ideas of the Science of Mind. He says, "There is something within all which constantly pushes us forward, which demands continued progress. Made in the image and likeness of the Father, we cannot accept stagnation. Something protests against it. We must be moving forward into a higher and more satisfying spiritual nature. We cannot get away from it because it is part of our nature. And our unfoldment is something for which we are specifically responsible." And that is the invitation that our teaching makes to us. It's pretty direct, wouldn't you say? Last week I invited you to write down how you desired to be big for God this year. I know some of you weren't here, but that's okay. So let me take a moment for those of you who were here. What did you write down? How were you planning to be big for God this year? Anybody want to share? What does it mean to you to be big for God? I know we had those sheets of paper. Derek.
Laugh more, smile more, encourage people more, help others out, just love more.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Derek. That's great. That's great. Anybody else?
Yes,
how they plan to...
Rich and we talked about last week, we have to look at someone. I don't work anymore, so nobody bothers me except that one. but anyway, to look, if you find something wrong with somebody, or you think they're doing it not correctly, to just ignore it and be, that's what they want to do. It's because I'm the type of person that tells everybody what to do.
Oh, okay. So no longer doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Approaching it a different way. Okay.
I'm going to give it up.
Okay.
Seeing it from a different point of view.
So my son says, "Oh, Mom, you're the best mother I ever had. I just love you," because I told him he could buy you have enough money to go buy whatever it was he wanted.
Well, and see, I think that's what Jesus meant when he said, "Turn the other cheek." Get a different viewpoint, So there we go. We're turning the other cheek.
Let them do
Okay.
what makes them happy.
So that was the invitation. That was the invitation that we did last week. And today we're going to look at the instructions. In the Basic Ideas of Science of Mind, Holmes says, "Science of mind is a way of thinking which gives you an awareness of spiritual principles on which you may rely. It shows you how to use the law of mind, how to think effectively for what you need so that your life becomes wholesome, fine, successful, and good. You have a perfect right to use the creativity of your mind to provide all that is necessary for a fuller, richer experience in living. Hey, we're using our mind anyway. We might as well use it in a positive and effective manner, right? How many of our thoughts are pushing us and pointing us in that direction? So this morning I want to give you a 5-step process from our teaching that will support you totally and completely in being big for God in 2015. For having a fuller, richer experience in living, whatever that looks like for you. And just so there isn't any confusion here, because I know we're all familiar with 5-step processes in religious science, I'm not talking about our spiritual treatment program or process, the spiritual mind treatment, which really is a very powerful, powerful tool that we have in our tool belts here. And we teach this as part of our spiritual practices. But this is a different 5-step process. To help us remember them, we're going to use the acronym Be Big. So here they are, and then we'll talk about them one at a time. So we have, and I actually spelled them out here. So step 1, B. Be aware of the bigger reality. Can we see those? Yeah, there we go. Okay, good. Step 2, embody the belief in the responsiveness of the law. Step 3, be bold in knowing your right and ability to speak your word. Step 4, imagine yourself being big for God. And step 5, go forth and act in every practical way you can. Okay, so notice that 4 of those 5 steps, or 80% of them, are mental activities. Not like how Yogi Berra once described baseball. Remember what he said? Rich does. Baseball is 90% physical and the other half is mental. So no, it's not that. In our case, being big for God is only 20% physical and 80% mental. That's how our math works here. Unless Suzanne's doing it. She's our bookkeeper. Anyway, also, here's a critically important piece of information. So lean in and listen to this. This is very important.
Speak up. No.
Well, speak up. I'm going to whisper this, so lean in. Listen closely. Okay. Our 80% mental comes before the 20% physical. Remember the be, do, have model we spoke of last week, and our story that went with the stones, which I just covered here. So here are our 5 steps again, and this time I'm going to talk a little bit more about each one. So we're going to look at number 1, become aware of the bigger reality. Recognize that the truth that the universal good surrounds you. There is more going on that meets the eye. There's higher truths. Even in the appearance of littleness, there is limitless vastness. Even in the face of apparent restriction, there is unlimited expansiveness. Even in the face of death, there is everlasting life. There is more to you right here and right now than you can possibly know. Isn't that a lovely thought? Become aware of it, even if you don't know what it is. Become aware that there is more of you than you could possibly know. You are more gifted than you know. You have talents that you haven't even tapped yet. Do you remember this powerful statement from Persian mystic Rumi? He says, "You are not just the drop in the ocean, you are the mighty ocean in the drop." How many times have we heard that? Is that an amazing, amazing analogy? I love that. Because all of the ocean is contained in that one drop. All of it is contained within us, all of the potential. So this is the bigger reality I'm talking about. So step 2, E, embody the belief in the responsiveness of the law. Let me ask you a number of questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you embody the belief that when you take steps and walk forward, your feet will stay on the earth below you and you won't go floating off? Yeah, we believe that, right? When you take a breath, air will be available for you. Yeah. When the sun sets every evening, it will rise the next morning. Yeah, pretty much believe that. When you turn on the stove or press the microwave button, it will heat your food. Yeah. When you strike a match, the flame will appear. When tons and tons of steel in the form of an ocean liner float out on the ocean, it will stay afloat. There are a lot of people who didn't believe that that would happen, but we've proved that that works. When tons of steel in the form of a jet take off into the sky, it will stay flying, right? And when you raise the temperature of water to 212 degrees Fahrenheit, it will boil. Yeah, we all know this. These are all scientific facts, right? When you cool it off to 32 degrees Fahrenheit or below, it's going to freeze. How about when you speak your word, God's law says yes in response? Huh? Okay. I heard enthusiastic, yeses, except for that last one. Maybe not quite so. I don't see well, okay. How can we embody this truth at the same level we have embodied all of those physical truths? How can we embody the truth that God always says yes? We can read, observe, pay attention, contemplate, observe, pay attention, study, observe, pay attention, practice believing, observe, pay attention. Did you have something to add? No? No? Okay. Okay. Oh, no, not a fly. We didn't invite them in here.
Get warm.
Oh, yes, I know. So, step 3, be bold in your right and ability to speak your word believingly, and that the activity of the mind as law will manifest the good you choose. Did Jesus say to Lazarus, "Hey Lazarus, would you please, if you don't mind, do me a really big favor and get up and walk?" Maybe. Yeah, did he? No. Did he say, "Listen, God, I've got a pretty big problem here. You see, these people are really hungry and they're starting to get a bit testy. How can we get, these people something to eat? All I have here are a few puny fish and still loaves of bread. I don't know what the heck to do with them. But if it's not too much bother, I'll bet you could multiply them for me. What do you think? Maybe? Kinda? Sorta? That sounds a little tentative for Jesus, right?" Of course he didn't do that. He said no such thing. He proclaimed with boldness and assurance, and it was done. It was done. He claimed and proclaimed his spiritual authority. In the Basics, Holmes writes, "We are made of and possess godlike qualities, and we have the right and the ability to develop and use them." Why are we not doing this? Jesus said, "This too you can do and more." We went, "Oh yeah, no, he didn't mean me. He meant somebody else, maybe. Or maybe he didn't mean anybody at all." What are we doing? I am in love with the demanding affirmation of Emma Curtis Hopkins. The one where she says, "This too is good. This too is God. And this too is for me, and I demand to see the blessing in it. And this is the one I use when things are not looking the way I want them to look. I demand to see the blessing in them." Step 4, imagine you're being big for God. Declare your intention and know it is made manifest. Let there be no doubt or worry. And this is from The Secret Scrolls by Rhonda Byrne. She did The Secret. How do I stop my thoughts of being small is a question that is so often asked. If you have ever asked this question, then you will feel such enormous relief in knowing the answer because it is so simple. How do you stop negative thoughts? You plant good thoughts. When you try to stop negative thoughts, you are focusing on what you don't want, negative thoughts, and you will attract an abundance of them. They can never disappear if you are focused on them. The stop part is irrelevant. The negative thoughts are your focus. It doesn't matter if you are trying to stop negative thoughts or control them or push them away. The result is the same. Your focus is on negative thoughts, and by the law of attraction, you are inviting more of them to you. The truth is always simple, and it is always easy. To stop negative thoughts, just plant good thoughts. Deliberately plant good thoughts. You plant good thoughts by making it a daily practice to appreciate all the things in your day. Appreciate your health, your car, your home, your family, your job, your friends, your surroundings, your meals, your pets, and the magnificent beauty of the day. Compliment, praise, and give thanks to all things. Every time you say thank you, it is a good thought. As you plant more and more good thoughts, the negative thoughts will be wiped out. Why? Because your focus is on good thoughts. And what you focus on, you attract. So don't give any attention to negative thoughts. Don't worry about them. If any come, make light of them, shrug them off, and let them be your reminder to deliberately think more good thoughts now. This speaks to the idea of coming from vision, rather, our intention calling rather than moving to it. When you imagine yourself being big for God, you are coming from it, and before you know it, you become it. So we want to come from that space instead of having the idea of moving toward it. We want to be first. So finally, step 5, go forth and act in every practical way you can, even before you have it down perfectly. Kind of fits with our treat and move your feet sort of philosophy. I look at the center here, and if I'd waited until we had everything figured out and created perfectly, we might still be waiting, because we were meeting in a scout hall, which was lovely, but it was a lot of work. We, had to set up every single Sunday, and we had to take down every single Sunday, and we didn't have a place where we had an office, and it was a little bit of a chore. So, I have to give it to Suzanne and Rob and the board and everyone here who made this center possible. Everyone.
We still don't have it all figured out.
No, but we're moving forward. We're coming from that being space, and we have a vision, and we're holding that vision. And so I thank everyone who holds that vision, because all of us, we heard that call and we pushed forward. We didn't have to know. It's like the lights on the car. They only see 200 feet in front of you. That's all we need, just enough to get to that next 200 feet. So there you have it, our instruction manual for being big for God. Step 1. Become aware of the bigger reality. Step 2, embody the belief in the responsiveness of the law. Step 3, be bold in knowing you are right and ability to speak your word. Step 4, imagine yourself, see yourself, visualize yourself being big for God. That is so powerful. Step 5, go forth and act in every practical way you can. I want to summarize and end today with this reading, which comes from a very interesting source, which I will share at the end. This is a lot of fun. So it goes like this. I have been told that if you change your mind, you change the world, or at least the way you experience it. Let's take a moment to examine that. The presumption is, if you thought this world was a hostile, ugly place filled with awful people doing awful things, that is what you'd see. Your mind would naturally seek out confirmation for its preconceived ideas. For example, if you're intent on buying a red car as you go about your day, you'll see lots of red cars. That was actually one of Pam Grout's experiments. It was a Volkswagen Jetta, though, right? All right. If, however, you were able to sincerely change your mind and see that we are all God in drag, that we are all conscious aspects of a perfect universe which had to create us so we could bear witness and stand in awe before its loving magnificence, then that is the soul-shaking reality you'd be greeted with each and every moment of each and every day. In other words, it is entirely our choice as to what kind of world we live in. With a simple decision, we can suffer in the darkness or play in the light. We can be angry, frightened and enslaved, or loving, joyous, and free. I know, it's a toughie. This appeared on what is called a vanity card at the end of a recent episode of The Big Bang Theory. Who watches The Big Bang Theory? Okay. You notice how as they go through the ending credits, this comes up and then it's gone. But if you pause it, you can read it. Yeah, it took me a while to, went too far to get it so that I could read what he was writing. This is Chuck Lorre. It was written by the co-creator of the series, Chuck Lorre. Pretty amazing, right? Yeah. And Rich and I both thought, and I'm getting the tag, it's up here, how cool that it appeared on national television. Imagine how many people watched The Big Bang Theory, and this is out there for everyone.
I've never seen it.
I know. It's just pretty amazing now. He does this after every single episode. He does a little write up like that, a little
You
vanity
think he does
card.
it after some of his other sitcoms too? You ever watch? He does Two and a Half Men, and he does quite a few sitcoms.
I think we have an assignment. Let's see what
Yeah,
we can
that's
find
a lot
out.
of them.
Let's see if we can find out if there's other vanity cards that he puts on out there. I don't. This is just one of the shows I happen to catch, and I don't think I watched that other one. But let's look for it. I mean, this is amazing. He's putting this out there. He has a way to do this, an avenue to do this. So, something to look for.
But he should slow it down so more people. Well, actually, I guess people like me just get up when the program's over and go to do my dishes. Yeah. Really,
Well, you know
it's
what?
like
Here's the
commercial.
thing. If we're meant to see, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I think he has a vehicle for doing this. It's a great way to share the truth, and I think it's wonderful. So, I think this is my belief that the world is starting to hear our message. I think they've been hearing it for a long time, but I think we're starting to embody it. And so I think this is a wonderful way to do that. And so it is.